The biggest question all Falcons fans have right now is, why did Atlanta not make a move to add a pass rusher at the Tuesday NFL trade deadline? And what I want to try and tackle on today's episode is that question exactly. Why Fontenot did not make a move? I can think of 3 reasons. 1, he did not have a lot of draft picks to work with. And that's a fair reason. Look at the Falcons 2025 draft capital. A first and a second. There was no one who was actually realistic to get traded because, sorry, Myles Garrett and Max Crosby were not going to get moved. That was worthy of a first or second round pick. So that leaves you with a 4th and 2 7ths. You could have done something with those 3 picks right there. No question about it. But if you do move on from one of those picks, mostly just the 4th rounder, man, it's a long fall from round 2 to round 7. So you really have to be confident that that 4th rounder is going to come in here and make a big impact. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is, I don't really buy this reason, but they're going to try and tell you this reason. They only had $7.5 million of cap space. Don't cry poor to me. Nuh-uh. Not buying it. The salary cap is not necessarily a myth, but halfway through the season, you could acquire a lot of contracts for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 and be just fine salary cap-wise. Do they have a ton of money to splurge on? No. Could they make a move if they really, really wanted to? Financially, yes. So don't let anyone just tell you, oh, they couldn't afford it. That's not true. And then the third reason, and maybe the most important reason why Atlanta did not make an acquisition, they may have sold themselves on some recent improved play from the current unit. Here are the pressures across the NFL since week 7, the last 3 games, and the Falcons are tied for 7th with 29. And then you pair that with their 3-sack performance against the Cowboys this past Sunday, and Fontenot might look at lack of draft capital, increase in pressures over the last 3 weeks, and a season-high 3-sack performance on Sunday and go, all that together means I'm not as desperate as everyone thinks I am to add a pass rusher. So I'm not going to overpay for one that I don't love. That's the only way I can make sense of it. I don't agree with that. Don't get it twisted. I'm not here as a defender. I'm here trying to make sense of it. And I would not have reached that same conclusion, but that to me is the only way I can make sense of how you're dead last in sacks, you're 6-3, you're looking to go on a deep postseason run, and you don't make a single move when a lot of pass rushers got dealt for not a lot. So I hope that can at least help people sleep at night, but I'm equally as frustrated as you guys probably are right now. Now, it is Saints Hate Week, and we are losing in subscribers this month to our Saints channel at Chat Sports, and they are more than just doubling us in subs. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet and you hate the New Orleans Saints, let's go fuck them on Sunday, and it starts in the walls of Chat Sports here. Hate the Saints? Hit that sub button down below. Now, why do I not agree with that conclusion that Fontenot probably arrived at when not trading for an edge rusher? 1, this team is cursed. I mean, look at the last 5 seasons, including this year, and look where they have finished in sacks. This is not new information that the Falcons have had historically bad luck at getting to the quarterback. But we have to acknowledge the last 4 years, the best you've ever finished in pass rushing when it comes to sacks is 21st. So you are cursed at this position, and you are banking on the second half of the season to be a dramatic turnaround from the first half. Other franchises that have had success at this position group or at this overall sacks, they can make that bet. The Falcons, they're not allowed to. No. When you are consistently this bad at one single thing, you cannot sell yourself on, hopefully it'll be better in the second half. Not allowing it. Other teams that have had success at other positions or other stats, they can do that. Not the Falcons. They have to overkill when it comes to pass rush because just playing par for the course is double bogey golf for them. I mean, look at the NFL season sack total in the wrong way, season lows from 1990 to 2023. Falcons with 19 sacks in 2021. That's tied for 8th worst. And if you look at these 9 teams here, the average record across all of them is 4-12. So if you are, of course, serious about going on a postseason run, look at the company you're in right now when it comes to season low sack totals. You're at 9 right now. You're on pace to join that crew at 18, which would be bottom 10 in NFL single season history. With an average record of 4-12, that might be the death of you in the postseason because none of those other teams were able to figure out how to win. And credit to the Falcons offense for being able to overcome this defense, but it may run out when they get to the postseason and they're not playing bad teams anymore. And they've got to find a way to slow down Jared Goff, Jordan Love, or all the other NFC quarterbacks. More to cover on this subject. But first, a quick shout out to our sponsor today, and that is Game Time. Game Time has this awesome feature called Game Time Picks. And what it does is it makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. So if you want to catch a Hawks game or a Falcons game, for example, what I suggest you do is download the Game Time app, use code CHATSPORTS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. And then just wait around on Sunday or before tip-off and see if prices drop to what your affordable price range could be, and then snag those tickets. Game Time is an awesome place to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. We shared this graphic a few weeks ago, and it's the last 5 NFC championship games and where the contestants finished in sacks during the regular season. And you'll notice that, the winners on the left are all top 10 in sacks. We're not going to get there. But even just look at the losers. Like, the worst one of the bunch is the Lions at 23rd. I just need the Falcons to be the Lions. Like, just get me to 23rd or 24th. Get out of 32nd, please. And even at 23rd, you can get all the way to the NFC Championship game. And with maybe some better play calling in the fourth quarter, unlike Detroit, you'd actually be playing in the Super Bowl. Now, the AFC, somewhat similar numbers here. Not quite as consistent as the NFC, but they also have Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen predominantly making up, it's Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar. Those 4 quarterbacks make up, 9 of the last teams. Shout out to Ryan Tannehill for sticking out there. So unless you have one of those 4 guys, you should probably have a good pass rush because they can bail out maybe a couple of defenses like the Chiefs in 2021 or the Bengals in 2022 that don't have an elite pass rushing core. But here we are, putting our faith in these 4 guys particularly. Judon, Ebiketie, Jarrett, and James Smith-Williams. This is the Avengers crew. Judon was a 3rd-round draft pick swap, and he simply has to play better. I'm not interested in chalking everything up to Jimmy Lakin's scheme. Can blame go around? Sure. It's hard to divvy up blame this early in the season, although we are at the halfway point now, and I think we can use enough data points to have a better idea as to who to point fingers at. But 1.5 sacks, it can't all be on the defensive coordinator. So these guys just got to play. It may not only be X's and O's. I need the Jimmies and Joes to show up. Guys that are highly paid, Grady Jarrett, traded for Matthew Judon, signed in free agency, James Smith-Williams, 2nd-round draft pick, Arnold Ebiketie, to go out there and perform. That, to me, is the bottom line and the starting point if this pass rush unit is going to finish anything but 32nd. So circling back to the big question that everyone had at the start of the video, why didn't the Falcons make a move at the deadline? I'll ask you right now, should the Falcons have made a trade at the deadline? Give me a yes or give me a no down below in the comment section. It would have been a big roll of the dice to trade your 4th-round pick, but I would have done that for Zadarius Smith, maybe get a 6th-rounder back in exchange with Cleveland. They did that with the Lions. I don't see what have prohibited the Falcons from entering the chat. The Browns only got a 5th from Detroit. So you could have gotten Smith from the Browns for a 4th and gotten a 6th-round pick back. Sure, you're not as good off or as well off with a 6 and 2 7s instead of having a fourth, but you at least have a competent pass rusher who has 5 sacks this year. That's double the sack leader on this team right now. Look at the trades that went down. You couldn't have done this. Baron Browning last year in 10 games had 5.5 sacks. He's healthy right now. He lost his starting gig because when he got injured, the guy who replaced him balled out. He's a starter. Look what it cost to get Darius Smith. Couldn't afford this? Don't tell me that. I see these trades go down. I'm not interested in hearing, oh, they couldn't afford it. Yes, they could have. Don't let someone tell you otherwise. 7th rounder. Now, this one I'm not too upset about because he's very expensive for future years. So this one I won't be having a little temper tantrum over. But the other two, I will. Could have gotten Browning. Could have gotten Smith. And we have to remember this moment, too. All of us. Uche, 6th rounder. We have to remember this moment because I don't want this to happen just to be right, but I am terrified to my core that when the playoffs get here, there's going to be a situation where the Falcons have a 3-point lead and the opposition has the ball in a minute to go and drive down the field, and they have all day in the pocket. And we can go, man, looks like the Falcons' lack of a pass rush reared its ugly head at the worst possible moment. But time will tell. We won't know until the end of the season whether or not staying pat at the deadline was a good move or not. Before we sign off, I do want to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club. Thank you guys so much for being such loyal and devout supporters of the channel. If you want to get added to the club, hang out with us on Sunday during our Falcons Saints watch party. We'll add you to the club with a $100 super chat. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have not subscribed, make sure to do so while also hitting that thumbs up button down below.